In that moment, she was lost, grappling with the reality of a future she never envisioned, unsure of what came next in this unexpected chapter of her life. Divorce papers lay before her, stark and cold, a tangible representation of her crumbling world. Shock washed over her, leaving her breathless. How could this be happening? Confusion twisted in her mind as memories of laughter and love flickered like a dying flame. She thought they were navigating through rough waters, not heading toward an iceberg. The silence of the room felt deafening, amplifying her racing thoughts. Each word on the page felt like a dagger, piercing through the hope she had clung to. Was this really the end? Those cherished moments now felt like a distant dream, overshadowed by the harsh reality of the present. They were inseparable, sharing laughter and dreams under a starlit sky. Each moment felt electric, as if the universe conspired to keep them together. She remembered their first date, the nervous excitement and the way he held her hand, promising to always be there. They explored new places, created inside jokes, and whispered sweet nothings that resonated deep within their hearts. The world felt vibrant, filled with endless possibilities. Love was a warm embrace, a connection that seemed unbreakable. They shared hopes for the future, imagining a life filled with joy and adventure. Yet amidst the bliss, the seeds of change were quietly sown. As I sit here, the weight of the divorce papers presses down on me, forcing me to reflect on the signs I ignored. Arguments became more frequent, each one a crack in the foundation of our love. I remember the nights filled with silence, where distance grew like a chasm between us. We once shared laughter and dreams, but those moments faded into memories overshadowed by resentment. The little things, once endearing, turned irritating. I recall the dismissive glances and the way we stopped communicating, each day feeling like a step further apart. I tried to bridge the gap, but it felt like shouting into a void. Now, as I sift through these memories, I realize how blind I was to the warning signs. Each argument was a plea for attention, a cry for help that went unheard, leading us to this moment. Torn between the comfort of familiarity and the uncertainty of change, she realizes this moment is pivotal, a crossroads that could redefine her life forever. The stark reality of what these documents represent weighs heavily on her heart. Questions flood her mind. What does this mean for her future? Can she truly envision a life without him? Memories of laughter and shared dreams clash with the pain of recent arguments and distance. She grapples with feelings of betrayal and loss, unsure of how to navigate this uncharted territory. The fear of loneliness creeps in, yet a flicker of hope sparks within her. Could this be an opportunity for growth? She reflects on her identity outside the marriage, contemplating her desires and needs. From his viewpoint, the husband felt trapped in a cycle of unresolved issues and unspoken grievances. Communication had dwindled, leaving him feeling isolated and unheard. He believed that initiating the divorce was the only way to escape the emotional turmoil that had become their relationship. The weight of unexpressed frustrations loomed large, and he feared that confronting his wife would only ignite further conflict. The decision to file for divorce was not made lightly. It stemmed from a deep-seated belief that they had drifted too far apart to salvage what was once a vibrant connection. He grappled with guilt, knowing the pain it would cause her, yet felt it was a necessary step for both of them to find peace. In his mind, silence was preferable to the chaos that had become their everyday life, leading him to act without prior discussion. In the wake of the divorce papers, the protagonist turns to her closest friends and family for guidance. Each conversation reveals a tapestry of perspectives on love and separation. Her mother, a traditionalist, emphasizes the importance of commitment, urging her to fight for the marriage. Meanwhile, her best friend, who has experienced a painful breakup, advocates for self-love and independence, suggesting that sometimes letting go is the healthiest choice. A wise aunt shares her own story of resilience, highlighting that every ending can lead to new beginnings. As she listens, the protagonist feels a mix of comfort and confusion, grappling with the contrasting advice. Each viewpoint resonates differently, prompting her to reflect on her own desires and fears. These discussions become pivotal moments, shaping her understanding of what she truly wants in this tumultuous time of uncertainty and emotional upheaval. "I can't believe he just did this," the protagonist said, her voice trembling. Her best friend, Sarah, sat beside her, concern etched on her face. "It feels like a betrayal, like everything we built together meant nothing." Sarah nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "You poured your heart into that marriage. It's okay to feel hurt." The protagonist sighed, wiping away a tear. "I thought we were happy. How could he just throw it all away?" Sarah took her hand, squeezing it gently. "Sometimes people hide their struggles. It doesn't excuse his actions, but it might explain them." The protagonist looked down, grappling with the conflicting emotions. "I just feel so lost. I don't know who I am without him." Sarah leaned in closer. "You're strong and you'll find your way. Just give yourself time to heal. Hope is fragile, but it's a start." With a racing heart, she answers, her lawyer's voice cutting through the tension. "I have news," he says, and her breath catches. The words spill out. Her husband didn't sign the divorce papers. A wave of emotions washes over her, confusion, disbelief, and a flicker of hope. Could it be that he's reconsidering? That maybe, just maybe, there's a chance to salvage what they once had? She feels a mix of relief and anxiety, the uncertainty of his intentions looming large. The thought of reconciliation dances in her mind, but doubt quickly follows. Torn between hope and skepticism, she stands at a crossroads, unsure of which path to take next. Hope flickers like a candle in the wind, igniting her heart with the possibility that maybe, just maybe, her husband still cares. Yet skepticism creeps in, whispering doubts about his true intentions. Why didn't he sign the papers? Is this a genuine chance for reconciliation, or merely a fleeting moment of indecision? She recalls their last conversation, filled with unspoken words and unresolved tension. The thought of rekindling their love dances in her mind, but the fear of getting hurt again looms large. Can she trust him after everything? As she wrestles with these conflicting feelings, she realizes that this moment could either lead to healing or deeper heartache. As the dust settles on the decision to divorce, we delve into the husband's psyche, revealing the fears that drove him to this point. He grapples with feelings of inadequacy, haunted by the belief that he could never meet the expectations of his wife. The weight of his own insecurities looms large, leading him to withdraw emotionally rather than confront the issues head-on. His motivations stem from a fear of failure, not just as a husband but as a man. He worries about being trapped in a relationship that no longer feels fulfilling, leading to a decision made in haste. The lack of communication wasn't just a choice, it was a defense mechanism, a way to shield himself from vulnerability. In his mind, initiating the divorce seemed like a way to reclaim control over a spiraling situation, even if it meant shattering their shared dreams. Each option holds its own risks and rewards, complicating her decision. She begins to contemplate the possibility of reconciliation, a flicker of hope igniting within her. On one hand, staying together means holding on to the love that once filled their lives, the laughter and shared dreams. Could they rediscover that connection? Yet the thought of moving on brings a sense of liberation, a chance to find herself again, free from the pain of unresolved issues. She weighs the pros and cons, considering their arguments and the emotional distance that has grown. What if they could heal together? Or would staying only prolong the inevitable? The internal battle rages on, leaving her torn between the familiar comfort of love and the unknown path of independence. It was time to face the truth, no matter how painful it might be. She couldn't let the silence linger any longer. That evening, she paced the living room, rehearsing her words, heart racing with a mix of fear and determination. Finally, she picked up her phone, dialing her husband's number. When he answered, she took a deep breath, her voice trembling slightly. "We need to talk," she said, feeling the gravity of her own words. She confronted him about the divorce, demanding to understand why he had chosen this path without a word. His silence had been deafening, and she refused to accept it any longer. As they spoke, emotions ran high, revealing the cracks in their communication. The air was thick with tension as she faced him, heart racing. "Why didn't you talk to me?" she demanded, her voice trembling. He looked away, guilt etched on his face. "I thought it was for the best," he replied, his tone defensive. She felt a mix of anger and hurt. "You think leaving me in the dark is best? I deserve to know." Tears welled in her eyes as she continued. "I'm scared of losing everything we built." He sighed, his own fears surfacing. "I didn't want to hurt you, but I felt trapped." They stood there, vulnerability exposed, both grappling with their emotions. "What if we tried to fix this?" she proposed, her voice softening. He hesitated, the weight of their shared history heavy between them. "I don't know if we can," he admitted, but the flicker of hope lingered. They realized that healing might just begin with this shared vulnerability. The couple began to reminisce about their early days, laughter echoing through their memories. They recalled spontaneous road trips, late-night conversations, and the warmth of shared dreams. Each memory was a thread, weaving a tapestry of love that felt so distant now. With every story, vulnerability seeped in, revealing the cracks in their armor. Tears welled in her eyes as she admitted her fears of losing not just a partner, but a best friend. He, too, felt the weight of regret, acknowledging his own shortcomings. In this moment of honesty, they stripped away the anger and resentment, exposing their raw emotions. It was a fragile space where hope flickered, reminding them of the love that once flourished. As she sat in the quiet of her room, the weight of the divorce papers felt heavier than ever. In that stillness, a flicker of clarity emerged. She began to contemplate her own needs and desires, realizing that for too long she had prioritized her husband's happiness over her own. What did she truly want from this relationship? Was it love, respect, or simply the comfort of familiarity? Memories flooded her mind, moments of joy intertwined with feelings of neglect. She understood that reconciliation could mean more than just mending the relationship. It could be about rediscovering herself. The thought of pursuing her passions and asserting her needs ignited a spark within her. This realization was not just about the marriage. It was about reclaiming her identity and ensuring her happiness, regardless of the outcome. As he sits alone, the weight of his decision begins to settle in. Initially, he thought ending the marriage would bring relief, a way to escape the mounting pressures of life and intimacy. But now, reflecting on his wife's pain, he feels a pang of guilt. Each argument, each moment of silence echoes in his mind. He realizes that his actions, driven by fear and frustration, have deeply wounded the woman he once adored. The love they shared feels distant, overshadowed by misunderstandings and unspoken words. He starts to grasp how his choice to initiate the divorce without dialogue has left her feeling abandoned and betrayed. This newfound awareness ignites a flicker of remorse within him, compelling him to reconsider the consequences of his decisions, not just for himself, but for the woman he once vowed to cherish. In this moment of clarity, they both see a path forward, one that involves healing and honest communication rather than separation. The protagonist takes a deep breath, breaking the silence. "We need to talk about our future," she says, her voice steady yet vulnerable. Her husband nods, acknowledging the gravity of the moment. They both realize that avoiding the conversation has only deepened their divide. "What if we try therapy?" he suggests, his tone softer than before. She feels a flicker of hope. This is the first time he's openly considered help. "I think it could help us understand each other better," she replies, her heart racing. They begin to discuss their fears, dreams, and the possibility of rebuilding what they once had. In a moment of unexpected clarity, the couple sits across from each other, the weight of their recent confrontation still heavy in the air. They both recognize that the divorce process, while seemingly necessary, has become a source of confusion and pain. With emotions raw, they decide to take a break from the legal proceedings, allowing space for reflection and healing. This pause isn't just about delaying the inevitable, it's about rediscovering themselves and each other. They agree to take time apart, not as a final goodbye, but as a chance to evaluate their feelings and intentions. The couple acknowledges that healing requires patience and understanding, and this break could provide the clarity they desperately need. As they step back, hope flickers in the air, hinting at the possibility of rebuilding what once felt lost. As the dust settles from the emotional turmoil, the protagonist embarks on a transformative journey of self-discovery. She begins to explore her interests and passions that were overshadowed during her marriage. Enrolling in art classes, she finds solace in creativity, allowing her to express feelings she had long suppressed. She reconnects with old friends, discovering the joy of camaraderie and laughter that she had missed. Each day becomes an opportunity for personal growth as she learns to prioritize her own happiness and well-being. Empowered by newfound independence, she starts setting goals, both personal and professional, that ignite a spark within her. This journey is not just about moving on, it's about embracing her identity outside the confines of her marriage, leading her to a deeper understanding of herself and what she truly desires in life. As the dust settles, the complexities of love and forgiveness emerge, reminding us that relationships are rarely black and white. The protagonist stands at a crossroads, contemplating the lessons learned through heartache. Love in its many forms can be both a sanctuary and a battleground. The journey of healing is not linear. It's filled with moments of doubt and clarity. Forgiveness becomes a powerful tool, not just for others, but for oneself. The couple's decision to pause and reflect opens the door to possibilities, suggesting that endings can also be beginnings. In this space of uncertainty, hope flickers like a candle in the dark. The audience is left to ponder their own experiences of love, the importance of communication, and the potential for growth. Relationships may be complicated, but they also hold the promise of renewal and understanding.